Welcome, dear students. So in the last class we have discussed roof. We have seen what is a roof, what are the requirements of a good roof, and also the various technical terms related to a pitched roof. Today we'll be discussing the various types of roofs. So as you see here, the different types of roofs are a pitched or a sloping roof, flat roof or terraced roof, and curved roof. So a pitched or a sloping roof is a roof which has a surface which is sloping, and also these are suitable for areas which have very heavy rainfall or snowfall. A flat roof or terrace roof is a roof which has a nearly flat surface, and also we provide a slope not more than 10 degrees in the case of a flat roof, and this is mainly to drain out the excess water. And a curved roof, these are roofs which are used mainly for auditoriums, theaters, etc. And now we'll see each of these in detail. So pitched or sloping roof can further be classified into the following three types, that is single roof, double or purlin roof, and trussed roof. So single roof, these are roofs in which the common rafters are provided to each slope without any intermediate support. We have already discussed what is a common rafter. So common rafters are inclined members which extend from the ridge to the wall plate. So in the case of a single roof, the rafters are provided with no intermediate support in between. The single roof can further be classified into different types. They are the lean-to roof, the couple roof, couple close roof, collar beam roof, collar and scissors roof. So we'll see what are they. So lean-to roof. So lean-to roof is actually the simplest type of roof, and it is a roof which is mainly provided for the sheds or veranda portion of a building, and hence it is also called as a shed roof. And here you can see here from the top, that is the common rafters extends, these are the common rafters. So the rafters extends from the from one edge, that is the top edge, to the bottom edge. We have two walls here. One wall is sufficiently raised to a higher position, and then you have another wall which is at a lower position. So in the case of a lean-to roof, the rafters extend from the higher wall to the lower wall with no intermediate support. It is the simplest type of roof, and this is used for sheds and verandas. And also the maximum span, that is span also we have discussed in the last class. Span is the horizontal distance between the internal walls. So here normally for the lean-to roof, the maximum span is about 2.4 meters. Now coming to the couple roof. So in this type of roof, the common rafters slopes upwards from the opposite walls, and they meet on the ridge. So this type of roof is mainly used for a span up to 3.6 meters, and here you can see it slopes in two directions, and then here again it is not much favored because you can see here the rafters extends on both sides in the roof, and here the main problem is that when the span increases, these common rafters as shown in the figure, they will have a tendency to separate, or it will have a tendency to go apart. So there is no intermediate support, hence these type of roofs are normally not preferred, because as the span increases, what happens, there is a tendency for the legs to move apart, and or it spreads out at the feet. So this is a couple roof. Now the couple close roof. So this is again similar to a couple roof, that we saw that in the couple roof the problem is that there is a tendency for the legs of the common rafters to spread apart. So this is a modified form of a couple roof, the couple close roof, and this is mainly used for a span up to 4.2 meters. So in this case, in order to prevent the legs of the common rafters from spreading out, we give a tie beam. So you can see there is a tie beam, a horizontal beam, which supports the two rafters. So this is mainly this connects the two rafters, and this is mainly provided to prevent the spreading out of the rafters. So this is actually a modified form of the coupled roof. Now coming to the next type, that is the collar beam roof. So this is again a variation of the coupled close roof. So here you can see that in the earlier type, that is the coupled close roof, we provide a tie beam. So in this case also we provide a tie beam, but this is provided at a suitable height, or it is placed at a higher level, and then it is called as a collar beam. And this is actually adopted for a maximum span of 4.8 meters. So here you can see there is a beam again here, horizontal beam, but unlike the earlier type here, that is unlike the coupled close roof, in this case the collar beam is raised to a little more higher position. And one advantage of this is that it reduces the amount of material required for the beam, as well as it provides sufficient height for the roof. So this is a collar beam roof. And next we have the collar and scissors roof. So in this case, this is similar to a collar beam roof, except that in this case there are two collar beams provided which will cross each other, and it presents the appearance of a scissor, and hence the name collar and scissors roof. So I hope it is clear. So these are the different types of single roof. So in general, the roofs may be classified into three categories: single roof, double or purlin roof, and the trussed roof. And single roof is further classified into lean-to roof, coupled close roof, collar beam roof, and collar and scissors roof. A single roof is a roof which has common rafters which are provided without any intermediate support. Now coming to the next type of roof, that is double or purlin roof. So when the span exceeds 2.4 meters, so as the span exceeds, the necessary size of the rafters become uneconomical. So here you can see when the span, that is the distance, horizontal distance between the internal walls exceeds, what happens is we have to increase the size of the rafters so that it will be more stable. So then this becomes more uneconomical. So in order to overcome this, what we do is, or to reduce the size of the rafters, we provide intermediate supports so that even with a thinner section the structure will be more stable. So this is a type of roof where we introduce a support in between. So unlike the single roof where there is no support for the common rafters, in the case of a double or purlin roof, we provide an intermediate support. So in this case, the common rafter is actually supported at 3 points. One is on the ridge beam, you can see in the figure. One is on the ridge, then again on the purlin, and then on the wall plate. So this is a double or a purlin roof, and this is mainly used for a span up to 4.8 meters. And then the trussed roofs. So when the span exceeds 4.8 meters and when there are no inside supporting walls or partitions for the purlins, then we use the trusses, or when we call these are the trussed roof, because here we are using framed structures which we call as the trusses. So these are spaced at definite intervals, and over this the roofing material will be placed. Again, the spacing of the trusses, how much space is to be given between the trusses, depends upon the load which is coming over the roof, and generally the spacing is about 3 meters. So this is a type of roof in which there are three components, wherein there are rafters to support the roofing material, purlins to provide intermediate support to the rafters, and again the trusses which supports the ends of the purlins. So there are different types of trussed roofs. We'll see each of these. Firstly, we have the king post truss. So in this type of truss, as you see in the figure, there is a central beam. There is a central vertical beam here in the middle. We call it as the king post. And then there are inclined members. We call them as the struts. So you can see there are two small struts which actually extends from the tie beam to the rafter or to the principal rafter. So we call it as the strut, and the main purpose of providing the strut is to prevent the bending of the rafters. So when you provide these two inclined, you can see in the figure the struts, it is marked here. So if the struts are not provided, what happens? The rafters will have a tendency to bend. So the struts are provided here in order to prevent the bending of the rafter. So this is a typical king post truss, and these are used for a span varying from about 5 meters to 8 meters. So it consists of a central post called as a king post, and then you have a tie beam, two struts provided which connects the or which supports the principal rafter from bending. And also you can see that at each places suitable joints are provided. And now the queen post truss, this is used for a slighter or for a greater span compared to the king post truss, which is used for 5 to 8 meter span. And here the queen post truss is actually suitable for spans varying from 8 meters to 12 meters. So here again it differs from the king post truss in having two vertical posts. So as you see in the figure here, it is marked. There are two vertical members, we call them as the queen posts. Again here the inclined member, we call it as the principal rafter. Here also you can see there are two struts provided. It's marked in the figure, the struts. So these struts extends from the tie beam to the principal rafter. It is provided in order to prevent the bending of the principal rafter. And here you can see there is another horizontal member above the tie beam, which we call as the straining sill, and at the top, connecting the top ends of the queen post, we have the straining beam. So this is called as a straining beam, and a small horizontal member provided above the tie beam, we call it as a straining sill. And queen post truss are normally used for spans varying from 8 meters to 12 meters. Here also suitable joints are provided at all connections, same as in the case of a king post truss. Again, these are the steel trusses. So steel trusses are used for span greater than 12 meters, and these are economical because here you can fabricate the various trusses using mild steel sections which are available in different sizes and shapes. So here you can see different types of steel trusses. So they are normally used for spans greater than 12 meters. So based on the shape, you can see there are different types of steel trusses. Again here you can see the steel trusses. So what are the advantages of steel trusses over timber trusses? So steel has a good advantage that it can be easily made, and also it can be easily installed. It can save much time, and also compared to the timber trusses, these are fireproof and termite proof, and also the materials are easily available, and the components can be shaped into the required dimensions, and also the weight is comparatively lesser, and it is more stronger and durable than the timber trusses. Timber has a disadvantage that it can lead to various decay and decomposition when it is in contact with moisture, whereas steel trusses have an advantage over the timber trusses that it is stronger and durable, and it can be easily installed, and thus saves enough time, and it is also used for greater spans. So timber trusses cannot be used for greater spans without providing intermediate support, whereas the steel trusses can be provided for greater spans with no intermediate trusses. The second type of roof, that is a flat roof or terraced roof. So it is a roof which is nearly flat, and they are provided with a slight slope, say less than 10 degrees Celsius, and this is actually to drain off the rainwater easily from the surface. So the most commonly used flat roof is the RCC flat roof, that is a reinforced cement concrete flat roof. It is the most popular type, and in this case we provide steel reinforcements which are used for taking the tensile forces. And one advantage is that it is the most commonly used, and also it has good waterproofing techniques. If it is properly constructed, it is very durable, and also uh, this is one of the most widely used type of roof. Now, what are the disadvantages of flat roof? So, the main disadvantages of the flat roof are that it cannot be used for larger spans without providing columns or beams, and also it is not much suitable for regions which have very heavy rainfall or snowfall, and there is a tendency for development of cracks on the surfaces, and mainly this occurs due to the variations in temperatures. Also the initial cost is very high, and the speed of construction is also much slower, because in the case of RCC we have to do curing, etc. So this that is the duration of the process takes more time, and hence it is not a construction which is done fast. And also, if proper drainage is not provided, there may be pockets of water which may be formed on the surfaces of the roof, and also this will lead to leakages. And one disadvantage is that it is not very easy to identify the exact location where the cracks or where the leakage is. And now coming to the advantages of a flat roof. So this main advantage is that the roof area may be used for various other purposes, and it is relatively simpler in construction, and also the maintenance is simple, and it gives a better architectural appearance. It is easy to make flat roof more fire resistant. It also possesses good insulating properties. And the one advantage of flat roof is that we can avoid the use of false ceiling, whereas in the case of a pitched roof normally we provide a false ceiling. And here again, construction of the upper floors or the higher floors can be done easily, and the area of the roofing material is also comparatively lesser when we consider a flat roof. It will be lesser than a sloping roof. Now here this table just gives a comparison of the flat roof and the pitched roof. As you see here, various properties or items are listed in the left hand column, and the same is being compared for the flat roof and a pitched roof. So fire resistance, the flat roof is more fireproof, whereas the pitched roof is very less fireproof. So mostly flat roofs are made up of RCC, so it is fireproof. Pitched roof includes various materials like timber, etc., and hence it is low, or it has less fireproof property. And insulating properties is also better for the flat roof compared to that of a pitched roof. And then we see that construction of the upper floor can be easily done in the case of a flat roof, whereas in the case of a pitched roof, the existing roof has to be removed for the construction of the upper floor. Then regarding the construction and maintenance, it is more simple in the case of a flat roof, whereas it is little complicated or it is complex in the case of a pitched roof. The area required for the roofing material is also lesser in the case of a flat roof, and in the case of a pitched roof we require greater area. Regarding maintenance cost, it is lesser in the case of a flat roof, and it is higher in the case of a pitched roof. The initial cost is also here it is less in the case of a pitched roof, whereas the initial cost is more in the case of a flat roof. Overall, the flat roofs are economical, and the pitched roof are costlier, and flat roofs are normally provided for smaller spans, whereas pitched roof can be provided for larger spans. Even using a trussed roof, we can give very long, it can be provided even for very long spans. And then the rainfall considering the rainfall, flat roofs are not suitable at places where the rainfall is very heavy, whereas pitched roof is suitable at places with rainfall or snowfall. And false ceiling is not required in the case of a flat roof, whereas it is essential in the case of a pitched roof. And coming to the construction time, the required time is more, or the duration of construction is more in the case of a flat roof, whereas it is lesser when it comes to the pitched roof. So these are the different types of roof.